Hello and welcome to the introduction to CAPM, Certified Associate in Project Management, certification course offered by Simplilearn. This is the first of the 13 lessons provided by Simplilearn on CAPM exam preparation. This is the introductory lesson, and it's a must-read for all the 12 remaining lessons as well. Please make sure that you have access to the other 12 lessons to fully comprehend the course. Let us first set up the agenda of this lesson. As indicated in the previous slide, this is an introductory lesson, and it covers the areas like what CAPM and PMI are. These are the terms that appear frequently in our conversation with the certified project managers or people who are preparing for this exam. Once we have an idea about what CAPM and PMI are, we will discuss the syllabus of the CAPM examination. Next, we will discuss CAPM exam in detail. We will cover the topics like the number of questions that are there in the exam, the pass marks, the number of questions that are expected from different parts of the syllabus, etc. Lastly, we will explain how the Simplilearn CAPM certification course is structured. Going through this part is mandatory before you start accessing the remaining lessons of this course. In the next slide, we will discuss CAPM and PMI. CAPM stands for Certified Associate in Project Management. This certificate is awarded to those who clear the exam. As evident by the name itself, this certificate is of interest to anyone interested in project management as a career. CAPM is the most recognized individual certification in the area of project management. It's valued worldwide. For many project management jobs, it's even a mandatory qualification. CAPM is not for project managers from a specific domain. A project manager working in any industry, be it manufacturing, retail, defense, or information technology, can appear for the CAPM exam. Upon successful completion, he or she can become a CAPM. Now, let's look at what PMI is. PMI is not-for-profit organization, which conducts CAPM examination. PMI stands for Project Management Institute. PMI is based in the USA and it has local chapters across the globe. So if you are based in Singapore, you can look for PMI chapter in Singapore. Such local chapters conduct regular knowledge sharing and networking sessions for people interested in project management. Thus, we may conclude PMI is an organization. CAPM is a certification. If you need more information on the PMI, you can refer to their website www.pmi.org. A CAPM certificate is valid for only 5 years. After 5 years, one can either appear for the exam once again to renew the certification or go for PMP certification. PMP stands for Project Management Professional, and this certification exam is also conducted by PMI. PMI measures project management experience in units of PDU. PDU means Professional Development Unit. So, if you attend a project management class of 1 hour by an expert, it's equivalent to, say, 1 PDU. If you write a white paper on project management related topic, it may be equivalent to 5 PDU. PMI has detailed guideline on what kind of project management activity amounts to how many PDUs. You can check their website for more details. Finally, let's look at what PmBok is. PmBok means Project Management Body of Knowledge. It's a book that PMI releases once in every 4 years. The latest version of the PmBok is version 5, and it was released in 2013. PmBok acts as a textbook for the CAPM exam. PmBok can be the guide for project management professional certification. In the next slide, we will discuss the prerequisites for CAPM exam. Well, can anyone take up the CAPM examination? Yes, provided one meets certain prerequisites. The prerequisites depend upon a person's formal education. As shown in the table, you must have a high school diploma or its global equivalent to appear in the exam. In addition to this diploma, you should either have 1,500 hours of professional experience on a project team or 23 hours of formal education on project management. This is also called 23 PMI contact hours. There are many project management training companies who are PMI REP. Now, what is REP? Simplilearn is a global REP of PMI. PMI REP Training Institute means these training companies are registered with PMI as registered education provider. If you attend their training or go through their e-learning, they give you a certificate for 23 PMI contact hours. This certificate and the high school degree are necessary for applying for the CAPM exam. PMI randomly audits such submission from time to time. So, if you do not meet the prerequisite and still go ahead and submit the online exam application, there are chances of you getting caught. PMI disqualifies such application. Once the online application for taking up the exam gets approved, PMI sends an authorization letter. You must appear for the exam within a year of getting the authorization letter. In the next slide, we'll discuss the CAPM exam in detail. Now, let me tell you more about the CAPM exam. It's a 3-hour exam consisting of 150 questions. Out of these 150 questions, 15 questions are not scored. But beware, you will not know which 15 questions are not scored. So you should answer all 150 questions with the same seriousness. PMI includes these questions to see the number of examinees who are getting them right. Based on this, they might decide to include these questions in future exams. It's like a survey conducted by PMI. PMI grades the students on each of the chapters. The grades are as follows: below proficient, moderately proficient, and proficient. Based on this grading, pass or fail will be announced. Now you must be guessing that CAPM exam is not that easy. You are right. Taking CAPM exam does require certain seriousness in preparation. The table in the slide shows the percentage of questions from various parts of the syllabus. Basically, PmBok has 13 chapters. Out of 13 chapters, a certain percentage of questions from 11 chapters will appear in the examination. The table shows the name of the chapter and percentage of questions from each of these chapters. Please make a note that percentage is calculated with 135 questions as base and not 150 questions, because 15 questions are dummy and not counted. Getting confused with so many new terms? Hold on for a moment. You will learn them in the next slide. In the next slide, we will discuss the syllabus for CAPM Exam. There are 3 terms that will be introduced here. First, let's see what process group is. The whole project management discipline is divided into 5 broad process groups. They are project initiation, project planning, project execution, project monitoring and control, and project closing. You probably might be aware of them as well. When a new project starts, it is in the project initiation phase. From initiation, it moves to planning. Then it goes through execution and monitoring and control phases. And finally, it's closed. Project execution and project monitoring and control processes go hand in hand. So when a new project is started, that is, initiated, all processes of project initiation process group should be applied to the project. Similarly, when the project is being closed, all processes of project closing group should be applied. Let me give you more specific example. Identify risks is a process of project planning group. When the project is in planning phase, you must identify all the risks of the project. Let's now see what a knowledge area is. As per PmBok, there are 10 knowledge areas. For example, human resource management is one of the knowledge areas. Knowledge area is a set of specific processes required to be performed to meet a project objective. A knowledge area may have some processes which are to be done in project planning process group, and some other processes to be done in project monitoring and control process group. For example, if you take human resource management knowledge area, plan human resource management is processes in project planning group, and another process, management project team, is in project execution group. All the 10 knowledge areas are presented in the slide. Please take some time to take a look at them. Lastly, there are 47 processes. We have already come across 2 such process areas: plan human resource management and manage project team. Similarly, develop schedule is one of the 47 processes under the planning process group, which is covered in project time management knowledge area. If you are totally confused by now, don't worry. Here we are dealing with the entire exam syllabus. However, in the subsequent lessons, there will be one lesson dedicated to each of these topics. For now, we need to keep in mind that there are 5 process groups, 10 knowledge areas, and 47 project management processes. Let me give you an overview of all the lessons of this tutorial. In all, we have 13 lessons. This is the first lesson, which provides an introduction to the CAPM certification. Lesson 2, which is called Project Management Framework, aims to explain what project and project management is all about. It also explains some related terms like project management office, etc. So, Lesson 2 can be considered as an introduction to the project management. Next, Lesson 3 aims to explain the 5 project management process groups that we discussed in the previous slide. Just to recap, these process groups are initiation, planning, executing, monitoring and controlling, and closing. From Lesson 4 to Lesson 13, the 10 project management knowledge areas are explained. One lesson is dedicated to each of these 10 areas. We have explained a few tips and tricks for the PMP exam on our blog. We suggest you go through it once. It might be of great help. Along with the tips and tricks, we have also listed what is called PMI-ism. Now, what is PMI-ism? Well, PMI has a certain way of thinking, and PMI-ism is a compilation of the same. You might not agree to all of that, but you must know this to pass the PMP exam. Let's quickly take a look at the PMI-ism example. You must be using the word task in our day-to-day project execution to mean a project-related work. But PMI never uses this term. Instead, they use the word activity and work packages. This is PMI-ism. There are many such things that we discussed on our blog. At this point, I would also like to add, at the end of each of these lessons, we have a quiz. We strongly recommend you take up the quiz and look at the explanations of all the questions. You should look at the explanations for those questions which you got right as well as those which you got wrong. This would help to get a better grasp over the subject. Once you are through with these entire 13 lessons, you can go ahead and start taking our online practice tests. This marks the end of our Lesson 1. Let's do a quick recap of what we learned so far. In this lesson, we learnt about what PMI and CAPM are. We also got some information about the CAPM exam format and looked at the prerequisites of taking up the CAPM exam. Finally, we covered the syllabus of the CAPM examination, where we explained the 5 process groups, the 10 knowledge areas, and the 47 project management processes. We also saw how the whole Simplilearn CAPM preparation course is categorized in 13 lessons, and what each of these 13 lessons cover. Thank you, and happy learning!